Welcome to an installation tutorial for MEG and EEG analysis using this software tool, MEEGbuddy, which can be used for TMS-EEG specifically and EEG analysis on its own. In this video, I will show you how to download this project off of GitHub and download the accompanying software tools that are necessary for the project to run. So here I'm at github.com/alexrockhill/MEEGbuddy. And this is the README file which describes this information that will be covered in the tutorial and how to do each of the installation instructions that we're going to go over here. So the first step is to download Python, which the recommended version is the Anaconda Python installer. So this is the link, and I'm following it here. And if you click download, you can download the Python 3.7 version, which is the current version now. 2 is no longer supported with most software tools and the software tools that we will need for this tutorial. So then in the downloads, there is a Anaconda software package, and so we'll want to open the package and run through the installer. So we'll continue to determine where to do the steps necessary to install the software. There's a README with files that you should read and a license also to read and accept. And so I personally like to download everything to a software folder so I know where everything is. So here I'm choosing a software folder to download everything to. And so here I actually have an installation of Anaconda already downloaded, so I will choose this, and if you follow the steps, it will start to download, and you'll get what I have at the end. And if I just press cancel here, that's what would have happened. So it would have downloaded everything, and so I have now and you don't have to download Microsoft VS Code. I have the Anaconda downloaded to a folder in a software folder. You can put it wherever you'd like. So then the next step is to install Freesurfer. So just going on these steps, we will next install Freesurfer. So on the Freesurfer website, which if you click and follow this tracker right here, you will go to this website, and I'm downloading the Mac OS version of Freesurfer. And so that also has a software package manager that, so if you double click this DMG, it'll be extracted into a software package manager, and you can open the package manager and follow the installation instructions. And again, I put this in a software folder. So again, just follow each of the installation instructions and pick where you'd want it. Again, I just like having everything in the same place, so I put it in an installation folder. So after you have Freesurfer and Anaconda, the last thing is MNE-Python. And one important thing to note for Mac is it gives you a little bit of a cryptic error, and it says that it's an unverified package developer. This is from the Martino Center for Biomedical Imaging, and so it's a developer that we're going to need to trust if we're going to run this tutorial. And so to do that, you can click in Security and Privacy, and when it'll say that there's this is in the system development settings, and it'll say there's a package from an unidentified developer, and you'll click Open Anyway to open the package. So I'll show you that for MNE. This is the MNE-C version, so looking down on the third ones, we'll step through martinos.org/MNE-C, which takes you to this website. This takes you to this website first, and this has the system requirements and installation instructions. And so then you follow this link, which I had already pressed in the previous slide. So you followed the download here, and their download installation instructions. So you're going to have to register, so you can click here to register, read the software agreement, agree, and then enter your email address. And so once you've done that, then you'll be sent a link, and you'll be able to enter your name, your email, and the password that they send you on the email. So they send you, I put my email, and then I put the password that they sent to me via an email, and you can click download, and then you'll be sent to this screen, which is the software downloads, and you can download the M&E. In this case, I'm on a Mac, so I'll download the Mac DMG, and I will get this Mac DMG file that I open and then get a package. And so I open the software package, and it's from an unidentified developer, so I need to go into my security and press open anyway. And so I can open that. And that open behind, so that's one of the things to look for. So again, just read through the license and change the installation location and install, and it'll be installed to a directory called MNE root in the folder that you choose. So now we're done with all the installation. We can open a terminal in Mac. You can type terminal. I also keep it down in the bar, and it'll open a new terminal. So this is a bash terminal, and so for bash, the opening file is a bash.bash profile file, and so I can type vim, the squiggly is your home folder, and .bash profile to open up that file in the terminal. And so this was added by the Anaconda installer and is necessary for Anaconda to start and to recognize different where all your code is. So the whole point of this bash profile file is that it's run every time the terminal is open, and tells and allows that program to have all the files that you have installed in the path of the computer so that it can read everything. So in this bash profile, if we look back at MEEGbuddy, we can see the commands we're supposed to add. So in Anaconda, the Python is called Python 3 because it's Python 3, but I just want to be able to type Python, so I add an alias, Python equals Python 3, and the quotes are necessary to run. So now when I type Python, I will get what I would type when I type Python 3, which is the Anaconda Python distribution. And the same for pip. So we want one for pip, and I missed a quotation there. And then another one for, so these you could do the full pathway as well. So it'll be in my case, in the software folder, in the bin Python 3 folder. So you could type all those out as well if it didn't automatically link. So that's a troubleshooting if it doesn't already link. And the bash RC or CSHRC, depending if you're on a Linux or a Mac, could also be run. And it's a little bit different for Windows, and I've added this is just Alfresco has some documentations for how to add some properties on a Windows computer, and the process is quite different. So this will just be a tutorial for Linux and Mac specifically recommended. So I'm just going to grab those commands off of another file that I had saved. So these commands here are these 5 here. So that might be a little hard to follow, but if you can have all these files, have these commands written in yours, that will make these all run. So we can make an alias too of MNE that when we type MNE, we get source this particular file, and so that will activate the files when we press MNE. That's one other way to do it. The way that it's written below will just source them every time you open the terminal. Either way works. So I'm going to go back to how it was. It'll just source every time I open the terminal. It's a minor inconvenience of 1 second every time you open a terminal. Your choice. Okay, so those commands are written, and now if I open a new terminal, so I press escape on the Vim editor and :write W and Q quit. And so now it will write to that file, and now we have a bash profile file. And if I open a new terminal, you can see that those commands worked, and the MNE software was sourced, and the Freesurfer software was sourced. And if I type which Python, which asks which file the Python is in, you can see that it's in my software folder. And I can type Python, and now I have a nice Python console. And I can type 1 + 1, and Python will tell me it's 2. Okay, so finally, we need the actual software itself. I've just been installing requirements. So now I need to install MEEGbuddy, and it has a demo as well. So there's 2 ways to do that. One is to install the file with a tar file, so that and just download the zip. So you can, when I press clone or download, I can download the zip, or I can in terminal type git clone. So I would put it in, I have a projects folder, I'll put it in my projects folder, and I can type git clone, and it'll clone this file into the projects folder. Otherwise, I can download the zip, and I can put it in using the file browser. So once that happens, if I had pressed enter, it would have worked, and it would have done what happened there. So now I have MEEGbuddy in a file, and I can show in the file browser as well. In my projects folder, I have MEEGbuddy, and so here's all the files that were necessary to come with it, and there's specifically a demo that we'll want to make sure works. So in order to run the demo, if I go back down to the README, it says the things to do to run the demo. So we'll need to run pip install Jupyter, so we can just copy and paste that. And so this will say it's already exists because I've already done it, but on yours it will it will download the file. The Python package manager will download the package off the internet. And just as an aside, you might want to use, for Mac, because of new security, you might have to use the -- user preference. And so if it says some error, like the file path is not allowed, you might have to use the -- user. So then there's a requirements.txt, and one thing also is that we might want to go back here and make a virtual environment. There you can install a virtual environment to maintain different distributions for different projects, so that if you have different packages with different versions, that you won't change the version that you're using for everything. So I'll go ahead and do that. You don't want to change the versions on a project if you're about to publish, for instance, and you will try and rerun everything, and you just changed all the projects for the downloaded software for your project. That's not going to be good. So again, I would type pip install virtual environment, and again, it's already installed because I have this running. And so then what I would want to do is make a new virtual environment. And so if you run virtual environment and then a path, a place that you want to store it, you'll get a new virtual environment, and it'll just make a directory with what you have in there. And so I have a virtual environment, I called it venv. So what I did was I typed virtual environment, oops, it's right here, it's just virtual env, and then my current folder is dot. I could type out all the previous parts, and then I typed venv, and then I would, if I pressed enter now, I would get what I have currently, which is a virtual environment directory. And so now if I type source venv/bin, and this is below here, /activate, and this is on the instructions, now I'm in a virtual environment. And so That's one way to manage packages. So you can do that every time on startup, or again in your bash profile you could make an alias to it. In my save bash profile I have aliases to the project, so you don't have to remember that it's in bin activate. You just type something like Alex's project or AP for Alex's project in it, and if you alias that to the to use the virtual environment /bin /activate, then it'll run the project for you. So finally, we're ready to install all the requirements. So if you use the -r command, you will install all the requirements, which are in the requirements.txt folder, which is in the GitHub that you just downloaded. So, and you might again have to use user for that. Actually, you can't use user if you're using a virtual environment, so that's a good thing to know. So don't use user if you're in a virtual environment. It's already kind of implicit. So install the virtual environment, all the tools. So they were all satisfied because I had done that before. And here you can see all the tools that I'm using in this. And so we can run, type in Jupyter Notebook, and we will now launch the notebook that's associated with this project, which has a demo. And so there's also consciousness analysis for TMS-EEG, but there's just a demo to make sure that this is all working. And so if you open a demo folder here, you should be able to now run everything. And this is using the MNE sample data. So when you press run, everything should work. The next demo will pick up here, and this will be the demo for the EEG analysis, pre-processing and analysis. After having all the requirements downloaded, the next demo should be for TMS-EEG, specifically using that consciousness analysis notebook that was in the other folder. Okay.